today we're going to be thinking about remembrance because we've been thinking about it over the last few weeks, haven't we? And just to remind ourselves of what we've been learning about, I want you to look at that crossword there. And you've got some post-it notes on your table, and in pairs or with the person next to you, I want you to think, whoopsie daisy, she says, very carefully about clues that you might come up with to fit those answers. So you're going to be asking questions or thinking of clues. On, off you go.
To journalists, go to remembrance, like people from different countries come to the centre square to remember the people that have died in the wars.
What does a poppy represent on a special day to do with the army?
Remembrance.
Yeah, so we could write that down as one clue.
Yeah. No, what's a sound that makes no noise? And that's silence.
No, because that no.
Yeah, it's a type of sound. But you've got to say that. Noise.
What you need to do, can you just stop, look and listen? Just think about that answer there. So can anyone give me an example of a question that you might ask to do with remembrance, where the answer might be poppy?
What grew in Flanders Fields?
What do we wear on Remembrance Day?
What's the signal for Remembrance Day?
So what's the...
Signal.
Do you mean
Symbol.
Symbol, well done.
I've got one for journalist.
Oh, you've got one for journalist, okay.
What job did the man who wrote to the London Evening News have?
Right, what job did the man who wrote to the London Evening News have? Well done. And why are we thinking about the man who wrote to the London Evening News? Why is that important? And who was he?
He was Edward George Honey, and he wrote to the Evening News to say about that we should have 2 minutes of silence to remember the people who died.
Okay, and I know I'm going a little bit off this, but with 2 minutes of silence, so who read that letter and actually said that the whole nation should have 2 minutes of silence?
George the Fifth.
George V, well done. Okay. Has anybody got any more clues for any other answers? But actually, we're not going to know what the answer is. You've got to give us the clue, and we're going to try and guess the answer or find out which one.
What do we have 2 minutes of?
Lovely. And what's the answer for that, everybody? Silence. Lovely.
Where the Queen and Army walk to every Remembrance Day.
Right, where the Queen and Army walk to on every Remembrance Day. And what is the answer, please? I think everybody might know that one. What is that one? You want to shout it out? Cenotaph. Right, okay. And you've been waiting ages, Jay.
It means empty tomb in Greece.
It means empty tomb in Greek. What's the answer? What's the answer? Shout it out. Time you can shout out. That's lovely. Well done. So, you know an awful lot about remembrance, don't you? You know lots of facts. We've talked about why, as a nation, we remember. We've talked about why, as individuals, we remember. But today, we're actually going to think about why, as Christians, it's important to remember. So our learning for today is I'm going to want you to show empathy and to be able to reflect. And by the end of this lesson, you've had a really good lesson and really good learning, you're going to know why remembrance is really, really important to Christians. You're also going to be able to describe how remembrance makes people feel. And this is the really challenging one. You're also going to make the link between remembrance and what Christians value and believe. And that's where we're really going to do some really good thinking. Right, I'm going to put something up on the board now, and you are going to just have a read of it. And I'm going to read it to you as well. It says, "Love one another just as I love you. The greatest love a person can have for his friends is to give his life for them." And I want you to talk to the person next to you and tell them immediately what thoughts you have about that, what comes into your head. Where do you think it might have come from? Who do you think might have written it? What is it about?
It is quite a Christian
Yeah, it's a
saying.
Christian sort of saying, and it sort of means, to me it sort of means about loving someone else as you want them to love you.
Yeah, kind of like treat somebody else like you want to be treated.
It's written by a person who maybe his friend risked his life for him. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, because it's quite sad.
And listen. I just read that quote out to you. Who do you think might have said it? What do you think it might have been about? Why am I linking it with remembrance?
I think Jesus said it.
Right. Why do you think Jesus might have said it?
Well, I think I've heard something similar like it that he said.
I think you've heard something similar. But can anyone explain why Katie might think that Jesus might have said it?
Jesus might have said it to his disciples for him at the last dinner, for them to remember him in their love for each other and everyone.
Okay, good. Anyone else got any comments?
It sounds like something Jesus has said to like the soldiers, because some soldiers give their life for their friends because they really love their friends.
Okay, now would Jesus have said that to the soldiers?
No, to the disciples, and then they...
Okay, so you mentioned to me soldiers, so why would we refer to that when we're thinking about soldiers?
Because people that fight in the war have lots of friends and they fight and give some soldiers give their life for other soldiers.
Okay, if everyone's heard what Tia said, can anybody else add to what Tia said?
That if they're fighting, they're not really friends with the people that they're fighting, but they have like other friends that they give their life for them.
What do you mean by when you say, so if we're thinking about soldiers and we're thinking about remembrance, the greatest love a person can have for his friends is to give his life for them. Why could we link that with remembrance and soldiers? Why? How?
Because you wouldn't just let another person die if they were about to die. You would like help them and probably give your life for them, as many soldiers have done.
Okay, so how have they given their life for them? What do you mean by that? Can you explain that even further?
That they've protected them from a grenade or something.
Right, we have examples of that, don't we? Even recently, you've got examples, and we've been looking. I know some of you have looked at people like Simon Weston, who, yes, survived, but there are other people as well who have given their lives, haven't they, to make other people actually feel safe. Yeah? Okay.
People, they fight for their friends, to protect their friends and their country, but they fight against another country, but they kind of still have respect for the other country they're fighting against.
Okay, they do have respect. So when we're saying the greatest love a person can give for his friends is to give his life for them, we can relate to what we see when we're thinking about remembrance and Remembrance Sunday and Remembrance Day. I'm going back here to what Katie said before, because she said she thinks Jesus might have said that, and so did quite a few of you. What was Jesus? If Jesus did say it, where would that be? Where would this quote be?
And would it be in the Bible?
Well, let's have a look. It's in the New Testament, okay? And Jesus said this, okay, but what do you think he might have been talking about when he said this? And he actually said, I command you. That's how it starts off. It says, I command you to love one another just as I love you. The greatest love a person can give for his friends is to give his life for them. What do you think he might have been talking about?
I think he might have been talking about maybe like before he was going to be put onto the cross, because he wanted his disciples to have courage to help others as he has helped them.
I have to say, I couldn't have put it better, young lady. Well done. That's fantastic. Well done. Yes. And so what did Jesus do? He did the ultimate thing, as Charlotte said. It was about, when he was put on the cross, what did he do?
Sacrificed himself.
He did. He sacrificed himself. And that is, when we're remembering, is the ultimate thing that a human being could do. And that's what Christians believe. And that's one of the reasons why remembrance is really, really, really important to Christians. Now, I want you to just look at this. And look at that picture there. And look at the title. Talk around your tables and just say, what do you think all that means?
Enemy. Yeah. And so it kind of means stand up for yourself.
Yeah, stand up yourself. Don't let people overtake you.
Yeah, just don't let people push you around. A bit like if someone's in a playground and then there's like a bully and they can be mean to someone, or they keep on kicking them or lunchbox that they have.
Don't stand there and walk.
Just hearing a few interesting thoughts here. Anybody got anything to say about that picture, who that might be, and the title as well?
For me, well, it sort of says, don't fear your enemy. So if there's a bully, don't fear them. Stand up for yourself.
Okay, it's not fearing your enemy. Okay, who do you think that person might have been? What do you think he might have done?
He might have been a soldier in the First or the Second World War.
You're absolutely right. In fact, he was a soldier. And he was somebody called Michael Pollock. And he was a tank commander in the North African desert. And this is actually a book that was written about him. Okay, biography by John Pollock. And it's called Fear No Foe. So as Archie said, it's about not fearing your enemy. What do you think he might have helped him as a soldier, help him not fear his enemy? What do you think might have helped him?
Maybe his family and sort of friends and the people he was with out wherever he was fighting, maybe.
Okay. His friends, his family, everybody else, okay. But what else? Because when you're in that situation, when you're at war, it can be quite lonely. What else? And think about our work on pilgrimage as well. Think about what might have helped him not fear.
Could it be like, because he's knowing he's doing the right thing? Or
He may be believing in what he's doing, but what can give him? Sometimes we talk about that inner strength.
I think determination.
Okay, determination. Anything else?
I think it's because of the war, because maybe they were winning or losing, and he was like, he wasn't scared of them because he believed in himself that he's actually there doing it.
Okay, so he believed himself. Actually, I'm going to show you something here. I'll read something out to you. And this is actually what gave him his inner strength, and it's quite clear here. It says, when you are sitting in the desert with the dust and the wind and the hot sun, the inside knowledge that you are being cared for every minute of the day and night by the blessed Lord himself makes life really worth living. So what gave him that strength? What does that say there? What gave him that strength?
Well, that he has someone watching over him all the time, believing in him.
So who might be? Who does he?
The Lord.
The Lord might be watching over him and his beliefs. What else do we call that? When you have such strong beliefs, what's the word that we use when you have really, really strong beliefs?
Being cared by others.
What's the word that we say? You
Faith.
said it before. That's it. Good boy. Well done. That's right, because you said that before, didn't you? Faith. It's where you have a really strong faith, and it gives you, can you see that here? It says that you're being cared for every minute of the day and night by the blessed Lord himself makes life really worth living. So in spite of everything, the desert, the dust, the wind, the hot sun, he inside knew really deep down what, Colleen?
I think deep down he knew that he was always being watched and cared for by a loving God, and he always had faith in himself and in God.
Right, so when you're thinking about getting yourself in a strength, remembrance for Christians, we're thinking remembrance is important because of the sacrifice that was made, but also the way that it links with the Christian faith. We think about the hope, the belief. It gives you strength, it gives you hope, it gives you help. To believe gives you hope and help. And I thought this was really interesting and really, really moving. It says here, it's a poem that was scratched on the wall of a prison during the Second World War. It says, I believe in the sun, even when the sun does not shine. I believe in love, even when I cannot feel it. I believe in God, even when he is silent. What does that, and talk to the person next to you, tell me or tell you about their faith?
I think they believe that whatever's going to happen, like,
They'll always have like something to fight for.
I think they always think, like, never give up.
Yeah, and he has a really strong belief of that. The sun will always be there even if it's not shining.
And
And
God
he
is always there, even if you can't hear
is
it.
silent. And
Still
love,
believe in God.
even though you cannot feel it, it still exists, which is
Still there.
yeah.
It's quite touching in a way,
Yeah.
seeing as someone in a prison who still believes that much.
Yeah.
What might that particular piece of writing tell you about that person's beliefs and their faith and what it has done for them? What does it tell you? What might it tell you?
I was going to say that he must have had a lot of faith to scratch it up on the wall, because he could have been killed if they found him doing it.
Could well have done, and that's actually a thought that I may not have had myself, I have to say, yeah. Because actually that determination, isn't there, to scratch something like that about their beliefs on a wall.
Well, maybe the person was in prison and maybe they scratched it on the wall because they have really, really strong faith in God
So what has their faith done? What is it given to them?
and strength,
And what else?
belief.
Who said that? Belief, yep, belief. Anything else?
Hope.
Hope. Very, very good words there. Thank you. Right. Now, what we're going to do now is we are going to look at and we're going to have a think. All right? Not going to do it yet. Because your task today is to show empathy and reflect. And you've got to make that link between remembrance and Christian values and Christian beliefs. What are the two Christian or the Christian values that we've just talked a little bit about here? I've tried to question you. What are those ones that have come out? Why is remembrance in your mind important to Christians? Why?
Remembrance is important to Christians because it reminds us of how the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross for us, and that it gives people hope. And
fantastic, well done. Yes, it reminds us of the sacrifice that Jesus made, and it gives us hope. You're going to add something, Will?
Because they gave their days for our tomorrows, so that we can live tomorrow.
Gave our days for our tomorrow, their days for our tomorrows. Right. What we're going to do, and this is what you're going to do in a minute, once we finish looking at this, you're going to be thinking, and I want you to just have a think and a reflection. And I've got some pictures here to show you. And we're going to do this in complete silence, and I want you to look. Okay? And keep your thoughts in your head. Oh. Slideshow. How did that make you feel?
It made me feel sad because you can see all the crosses.
Okay, it made you feel sad because you can see all the crosses.
It made me feel shocked, and how it makes you feel how sad the war actually was, because you don't really realise it if you just get told a story.
So do you think the images are quite powerful then?
Yeah.
It was quite emotional, and when you saw it raining on those crosses with the poppies, it was really sad because so many people died.
There was a picture of lots of people on the street, and I think, well, it made me feel quite sad. They looked quite unhappy. It was, I thought it was because all the people had gone out to war. And then there was another picture of all the people in the trenches fighting. It was quite sad as well.
Is there any other way that you could describe that? Think about the language that you might use.
Emotional.
Emotional?
it made me feel quite depressed because of all the people that had died, and the picture of the, I think it was a mother with children, they all looked really sad, unhappy.
It made me feel really unhappy because they, like Jesus did, sacrificed their lives for while we're living today. Because there's like a war going on in Afghanistan, they're like sacrificing their lives for some of us.
And what you're going to do today is, what I want you to do is I want you to work in groups. And I want you to think about all those quotes we had, and actually the link that we had with the Christian faith. As Joe said, he said, what did you say, Joe?
Why remembrance was important for Christians? Right, because it reminded us of when Jesus sacrificed himself for us on the cross, and of hope.
Okay, so it reminded us of Jesus' sacrifice and hope. Okay, right. And what I want you to do is I want you to produce something for me in your groups that's going to actually show us, or show me, why remembrance is important to Christians. I want you to think about the language that you use, because I know last week we worked on you expressing your emotions, didn't we? In response to a picture. And I want you to make that link between remembrance and why is it important to Christians. Okay? So you're going to think about all those things. I want the why it is important. If you're thinking about the ways that you record things or the way that you actually tell me whether you've learnt something, can somebody give me some ideas what you might want to do? Okay. You might want to construct a poem.
Poster, a PowerPoint.
You could do a mind map.
You might sort of want to write a letter about how you feel to someone and what's going on. Because you might be in the war and you might be explaining what's happened.
And so, within whatever you're doing, you decide as a group to do, I want you to show empathy and I want you to reflect. And I want you to make it really clear why remembrance, within whatever you do, is important, not just to us as a nation, but to Christians. Yep, that link between the Bible and remembrance. Okay? Is everybody clear?
Yeah.
Does anybody not understand?
No.
You don't?
Yeah, I do.
You do.
What are we going to write on our poem?
We should do it. Then write inside it or something.
What were you going to say, Grace? We could have done a big pocket and then cut it out and then right in the middle of it.
Oh yeah.
A big one. I'm going to get closer.
Do a really, really big one. Bigger than that. Oh, right, yeah, you do sideways. And then go down right to the end.
So you're showing empathy and you're going to be able to reflect. So you're going to tell me, is this work going to tell me why remembrance is important to Christians? In what way is it going to tell me that remembrance is important to Christians?
We could write about how Jesus sacrificed himself.
What's this piece of work going to tell me about?
It's going to be like a poster or a poem.
And but what are you, is it going to explain to me why remembrance is important to Christians?
Yeah.
And are you going to think about the language that you use?
Yeah.
So what's the language? How's the language going to make me feel when I read it?
Sure.
It's not so much emotional. I've got to have empathy, haven't I? I've got to have feelings. It's got to make me feel quite moved, hasn't it? Thinking about last week, okay?
Thinking. If you have a look at some of them, they're covering their faces, aren't they? So, what about this one here? What does this mean to you?
The medals what they get awarded for bravery.
Yeah, I always think they're medals for bravery when if he might have saved someone.
So who's going to be wearing them?
Like someone from the army, like a captain or something.
Good. Now, what about here, Emma? What's here?
I feel it's very like depressing when you like see the crosses and underneath there's like the names of the soldiers that have died and it's like raining, so it makes it look really sad.
Can I just stop for a minute? Just stop you for a second. And I just want you to just remember, within your talking and in your discussions, because I have been going round, that you need to be letting me know within whatever you're producing that you know why remembrance is important to Christians. Okay? So within whatever thinking you're doing and whatever you're producing, you are letting me know why remembrance is important to Christians. Okay? That link between Christians, like Remembrance Sunday, and why it's important to Christians, okay? Right. Okay.
poppy poem. No, because it's not. No, it's not a poppy poem.
It's in the poppy, isn't it?
It's not about poppies. Remembrance. It's about alliteration. Yeah, it's about alliteration.
The remembrance, you want to call it? What? Remembrance.
It's a bit like usual. It's a bit like Daddy, you can't do poppy poem because it's not can. And then why did you ask?
Who knows the poppy poem?
Discussing, I wouldn't necessarily write yet. Put the lid on and actually have a think. Now, what are you going to do now? Do you want me to work with you and we do ingredients for remembrance?
We could.
Okay, no.
Sure what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's why I said if we think about it, something like we can do a cupful. Jay, are you can hear?
The soldiers in hiding. What you could do is you could still put the poppy in the middle, then underneath you put, like Charlie was just about to do.
You could say, no, you don't need to, just the right thing you could say, like you just said, what did you say, a cupful of?
A cupful of hope for the soldiers in hiding.
Okay, so why do they have hope though as well? From a Christian point of view, a cupful of hope, like, okay, a cupful of soap for the soldiers.
Okay. I was thinking, you know that poem that was found in the prison wall? Yeah. I think we should do that. Write it up. Yeah.
You could just use one of these as a stimulus, couldn't you?
Are we allowed to stick one of these
Yeah,
in?
don't worry about sticking it in, you can just write something about it, couldn't you? Your thoughts about it. But if you discuss it and then one person scribes, let Colleen scribe
A prison wall in like a funky thing, and then we can just write the little mini poem.
Gives us a sign of hope.
Done. You need a full stop.
Oh, don't twist it.
Charlie, we never said that you definitely will. Charlie, stop staring at it.
Is this stuck in?
Charlie, hang on.
No.
You might.
Miss Gindora said not to.
Yeah, still, I did all my Oh, yes. What me and Charlie could do. Hang on. Don't wait yet. You still need the full stop. Wait a minute.
No, look, Charlie, calm down, people.
Poppy Day
Is where we remember.
is sad. Is a sad day.
Is a sad day for warfare. No.
Can I write it?
Yeah. Okay.
sacrifice to yourself so we can now.
And then we were going to
Can you expand on that?
after that slide, we were going to say the people in something. We planned on putting something else somewhere else, like another thing. So we could put something up on, if we don't, up in that corner saying this remembrance is so important to Christians because even the people in the war believed in it, and because they believe in it, we believe in it now.
Do you mean the people in the war believed in it?
Believed in God.
Yes. And what did God do? What did that belief do for those people who have gone out to war, who are still going out to war?
Confident belief.
Is it just more? Is it the confidence, or is it more than confidence? What other word could we do?
Hope, faith.
Okay.
Courage.
So if you have hope for something, how does that make you feel?
Stronger.
Yeah, it makes me feel stronger if I have hope. What's another word we could use to describe hope? Or another phrase you could use to describe hope? How would you describe the hope? If you had hope, how would you describe? If you were saying to lifting it is uplifting. uplifting. And if we think about it, when we're thinking about religion or Christian and Christian values, and when people go into a church, for example, that word uplifting, why would I use that sometimes if I went into a church?
Because sometimes people go into a church if they've done something wrong.
They might do.
Maybe right.
And so that feeling that you get of hope, that uplifting hope. What else, when you're thinking about being uplifting, because I love that word actually, uplifting, what else can maybe lift us and lift our spirits?
Faith.
Faith, but what do you mean by faith?
When you believe in something, if you believe something's going to happen, you really strongly.
Can you give me an example of faith?
If you're faithful, someone's going to catch you when you go backwards. People doing like that.
And is that strong belief? So that strong belief, if you relate that back to the soldiers during the war, that strong belief helped them to... what did it help them to do?
Get through.
Not all gravestones are circles, but it doesn't have right to have that way down. That's what I was just saying. Grenades? Yeah. What else should I thought? Against the troubled times.
Battle through dust.
And rain.
Dust and rain. No, battle from dusk.
Although that's bad.
And dawn. Dusk to dawn.
This lesson was meant to be about trying to show empathy and trying to get you to reflect, which has been quite challenging, hasn't it? Been quite a challenge. And the big thing with your work or your learning, what I wanted you to do in any way you wanted to, was to actually tell me, or explain to me, why remembrance is important to Christians. But also within that, you need to think about using words to describe how remembrance makes people feel. Think about that sort of emotional language. Okay? And then the really tricky one, the link between remembrance and Christian values and beliefs. Okay, so there are three things that I wanted you to think about when you were discussing things in your group and recording. So, let's have a look. Okay, this group here. Would you like to share? What have you decided to do this group?
Well, we haven't really finished, but
Okay, that's fine.
we've got a poem and a couple of quotes,
You've got some thoughts.
some thoughts and some quotes that we made up.
Can I just stop you there, Colleen, for a minute? When you say quotes, that means somebody else has said it. Are these your own original thoughts, or somebody else said it?
No,
They're sort of
Kind of made it together.
a bit of someone else's and a bit of our own work.
That's all right, because we learn from other people too. Right, so do you want to just hold it up so everybody can see, actually? Or more is actually reading out what you've done. So what have you said? You said...
Belief in God gives us a stone of hope.
Okay, belief in God gives us a stone of hope. What do you mean by that?
well, we mean that even the smallest of hope means something, and you, from a stone of hope, you can build up until you get lots and lots of hope.
Did you think that, have they made it really, really clear, or do you think there's a bit more work to do that why remembrance is important to Christians? Bit more work to do on why remembrance, boys. Why remembrance is important to Christians. Right, just at the back there. How did you decide to do yours? You don't need to come out. Right. I'll just read it out so everybody can hear. Poppies grow in Flanders fields, never forgotten soldiers lay under God's care. Jesus said that we should love each other as we have been loved by him. Hope is engraved in a prison wall by someone who knows that God will reply to their call. Once a year in London, the Queen and lots of people who have lost loved ones gather to remember these soldiers who have died. Do you think that they have actually in there sort of told us why remembrance is important to Christians? Yeah. We've got soldiers lay under God's care. Jesus said that we should love each other as we have been loved by him. We still might have been able to actually make a reference to the sacrifice, couldn't we? And we might have, if you're going to improve on it, you're going to make a reference to hope, aren't you, as well? But I think that's a really, really good start. Well done, that group over there. And we've just got time. One more. Just a little comment about this one. Let's have a look. Okay, you can hold them. What have you decided to do, Joe?
So we did a haiku, which is soldiers died for us, like Jesus died for the world. We should remember. And then we did a quote, a thought. They gave their days for our tomorrows. Then there's a little. It says here, even the slightest of hope is extremely important.
Well done. Do you think that they have actually, in a way, told us why remembrance is important to Christians? Yes. They have. And I have to say, I really loved that haiku. That's soldiers die for us like Jesus died for the world. We should remember. You've made that link between remembrance. You've made that link between remembrance and Christianity and the Christian values. And you've actually, in a very, very... I think that's really, really good, actually. That's fantastic. Well done. You get a marble for that. I really enjoyed that. Right.